Hello beer tubers and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the master of Hoppets. Today, carrying on the Putty Odyssey with the 2014 vintage of Putty. The Putty. There we go. The triple IPA version of Putty. So this came out again this year. First time it was released was last year. Verdant is very known for Putty. It's an iconic beer. People still love to shit on it and be like, oh, there's better haze out there these days. Yes, there is. But Putty is an iconic beer, and it's a beer that this brewery had made, and it was a beer that put them on the map. And it's one of the first hazies in Europe that was like high level, high quality. So it deserves the reputation it has. Yes, it might not be as good as what you drink from the States, from hype haze boys and haze breweries, but it's still good beer. So the triple this time around smells more up my alley than the first time, actually. I can smell it from here. The first time I thought it was just exactly what I feared, like just a bit more sweet and juicy and whatever. But this time around, I also think I'm drinking it a little bit fresher. So the triple IPA version here of Putty is 10% and it's hopped with Osaka Galaxy Mosaic. And the big thing with this one, I saw a tasting video James did where he told the viewers, the audience, that this was dry hopped with 30 grams per liter of hops. And that's pretty much the territory a lot of the Americans do these days. They use loads of hops in their beers. So I think 30 grams per liter sounds quite right. It's over 6 pounds per barrel. And like I think most brewers these days that do really heavy dry hop charges are like 5 to 8 pounds per barrel, which is insane. 5 is the highest I've gone, and I really like the results. But it's an interesting thing. Like when you do those really heavy dry hop additions, you also really have to be careful of not ruining your beer by putting in too many hops, because it can also make it too astringent and plant matter and whatnot. But from here, this smells really good. So let's dive in. So pour is a hazy, thick-looking golden orange color, for sure, golden orange. One of the things, like, it's definitely looking a little bit more bright and saturated than the regular Putty, I think. And one of the things also, like, if you've seen these American juice bombs that are like almost looking like hop milk or something like that, like they're these really pale beers, it's because the grists are often really pale grists. It's like Pilsner malt and flaked wheat and wheat malt and stuff like that, like really pale grist, or Turo even. But I think especially with the British scene, there's definitely been a tendency of doing, and I think also some Americans did it, but using like British pale malts like Maris Otter or Golden Promise or the extra pale varieties of those, which really produce a lot of mouthfeel in a beer compared to like Pilsner malt. So it's almost like as if that's also become like the British way, at least in some cases, especially also when you think of some of these classic beers. But you can also make a fairly pale beer with like extra pale Maris Otter, for example. But it looks quite nice in the glass. It looks more saturated than regular Putty. So, and I'm usually not the biggest fan of triple IPAs unless they're those like blow your socks off. Then I'm aboard. But usually I just prefer singles. Or doubles, but mostly singles. And again, I don't drink haze that much anymore. But let's check this one out. It looks nice, and I could smell it when I popped it. So let's check it out. And about almost 5 weeks in the can right now. Yeah, definitely not just overripe gushing juice. And that is so nice. Like, this definitely smells more akin to, say, I think actually Parish to some extent. Or maybe some of the more heavily hopped equilibrium beers, because there's still definitely like some yeast character underneath, and that's like in the regular Ghost in the Machine and also classic equilibrium beers. There's quite a good amount of like yeast character, and that's in here as well. And I think that's also just because it's a triple IPA, so you're going to get more esters because there's more sugars to ferment. But there is an underlying juiciness with like cantaloupe, melon, and peach and stone fruit. But there's some brightness and some zing and some snappy, tart tropical fruit like pineapple and passion fruit. And then there is also a little bit of mosaic blueberry vibes, interestingly enough. And that's like not something I expected. Usually Putty for me is like big galaxy and lots of grassiness as well. And like, especially in some vintages, it's definitely like the more grassy side of galaxy. But this is a very nice galaxy character. It's more of the tropical melon vibes than it is like noble hop spiciness and whatnot. And it smells like that kind of almost, it smells like it's gonna have a bit of a hop bite. And I really like I don't like hop burn, but I think in these heavily hop beers, the hop bite offers a little bit of balance. It shouldn't be burning going down, but that slight bite. And I think it's a mixture of both hops, but also to some extent, like really high levels of calcium chloride. But it smells really good. There's like almost like going into those like really cool exotic notes like Monstera Deliciosa and like custard apples or something. There's like some very exotic, but also like sweeter fruit. It smells good. It smells really good. Definitely smells better than last year's vintage. Let's try it. Cheers. You can definitely sense it's a triple. For sure. There is some warmth. That is definitely better than last year. This is not just sweet juice, which is really good. You can definitely feel they've ramped up on hop additions. It feels so much more like digging into your palate. And I like that, when the hops in these big triple IPAs, they dig in, they help to cut some of that sweetness. And they help to cut some, like, there's also alcohol sweetness. Because it's almost like the same thing that bitterness does to your palate. Say in a West Coast IPA, it scrubs away. And like, just a little bit of a hop bite does the same thing, at least for me, in these big, heavily dry hop beers. Like, I'm sharing this with my girlfriend. I'm thinking this might even be a little bit too much for her, because sometimes when they get quite saturated in hop flavors, she's not too into them. She prefers more like classic juice. But it's really good. It's a pretty fucking great triple IPA. I'm actually thinking I'm liking this more than the regular Putty this year, which is really weird for me because I'm usually, again, not the biggest fan of triple IPAs, but I think it just nails a brighter, denser hop profile very well. And it's like these exotic fruits, again, like bright pineapple and passion fruit, Monstera Deliciosa, a little bit of a sweet custard apple, and like underlying cantaloupe, peachy, stone fruity flavors without being too much. Because those like cantaloupe, peachy, stone fruity flavors with sweetness, just, I think it's usually yeast character. They can just get too much. But yeah, this is really freaking great. I'm actually thinking like a 93, 94. I don't think like, I'm not going to say 95 because I don't think it's on as good as some of the best American triple IPAs I've had. There's definitely some that's been better. Thinking like, again, like some of the monkish ones, they've been really good at triple IPAs. Also just like Green Cheek actually in recent times. But it's really freaking great though. And it's definitely more towards that modern American approach where the hops get to shine even more, which is nice. It's not just like gushing sweet fruity juice bomb. I think I gave regular Putty 92, but I definitely like this more. So there you go. I love that. You can feel that digging into your palate. Like, this is how I want haze if I'm drinking haze. I want those like massive whaps of hops in my face. But these days I don't drink it too much. But so once in a while when I have them like this and they're this good, it's like, maybe I should just try and drink a little more haze. And then I get on some haze and then I get tired of it for a bit. But this was really good. That was awesome. Great surprise. So yeah, if you guys had a chance to try the 23 or 24 version of Putty with 3 T's, the triple IPA, let me know what you thought of it. Again, I think this is really good. I hope you guys think so as well. I think maybe one of the best European triple IPAs I've had in recent times. So that's saying something because I've had a lot of just hazy IPA in general. If you want to try US Hype Triple IPA, right now I think Beer Dome actually just today got some Brewhouse. So you're going to see this a couple days after. But they got like 1 or 2 cans, I think, or something like that from Brewhouse. So 1 can, it's a collab, I think. But brewed at Brewhouse. So if you want to try Brewhouse, that was the only way you can buy it like in a web shop in Europe, which is just nuts. Like, what? They're so new, and then there's the first Euro release. What the hell? Really cool, but like, we're so spoiled these days. Like, European beer geeks are spoiled. But yeah, if you guys had Putty the Triple IPA this year, let me know. As always, in the comments, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page, Twitter, and Instagram. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And I'm going to say cheers in some really nice Triple IPA. And see you guys in the beer review.